For the longest time, whenever we talked about AI, it was all about these big horizontal platforms. But a new map of the AI economy is being drawn, and trust me, it's all vertical. So let's dive in and see where the real value is stacking up. And let's just start with the scale of this thing right off the bat. Based on an analysis of over 140 startups, we're already looking at a vertical AI market with a combined valuation of over $120 billion. This isn't some tiny little niche. No way. This is a massive shift in where the money and the talent is going. And this quote, it just nails it. Vertical AI has graduated from being a cool theory or a good idea. It's not a prediction anymore. It's the actual blueprint for how enterprise tech is going to be built for the next 10 years. So what are we really talking about here? Look, vertical AI companies aren't just slapping a thin layer of AI on top of a public model. These are deeply specialized platforms that live inside the complicated, messy workflows of big industries. Think defense, healthcare, logistics. And here's the key. They're trained on unique, proprietary data that nobody else can get their hands on. Okay, so that brings us to our first big section. To really get this shift, you've got to follow the money. So let's take a little data-driven tour and see which industries are being transformed the fastest. And whoa, check out where the big bets are being placed. Defense is just crushing it with a massive $8.6 billion in capital raised. Supply chain and health tech are right behind, also pulling in billions. We're not talking about small seed rounds here. This is serious, heavy-duty growth capital.
But hang on, capital is only one side of the coin. If you look at the sheer number of companies popping up, health tech is actually leading the pack. Defense and manufacturing are right there too. This tells you there's a really broad base of innovation happening across all these critical fields.
These big industry numbers are great, but they're being driven by real companies, right? So who are the flagships, the ones really leading the charge and proving this whole model works? Okay, this is where it gets absolutely real. Just look at Anduril in defense, with a jaw-dropping $30.5 billion valuation. Or Zipline, completely rebuilding supply chains, valued at $4.2 billion. These aren't just little startups. These are industry-defining giants, all built on this vertical AI playbook.
And it's a big deal when you see who's writing the checks. The absolute top-tier VCs are diving in head first. Andreessen Horowitz, or A16Z, leads the way with bets on 20 different vertical AI companies. When you see names like General Catalyst and Tiger Global making these kinds of focused investments, you know a fundamental market shift is underway.
So this all leads to the big question. Why is this model so successful? What's the secret sauce here? Let's break down how these companies are building these incredibly strong, durable competitive advantages, or what we call moats. According to the analysis, it really boils down to three core pillars. First, you've got access to proprietary data. Second, the ability to work within really complex industry rules or domain constraints. And third, a real desperate willingness from customers to pay for solutions that are mission critical. Let's dig into each one.
Okay, first up, data. We are not talking about scraping the public internet. Vertical AI companies tap into data that horizontal players will never, ever see. Think real-time sensor streams from heavy machinery, data from tightly regulated clinical workflows, or telemetry from frontline operations. This data creates a moat that just gets deeper and wider with every single new customer.
Now, this second pillar is fascinating because it totally flips conventional wisdom on its head. In these industries, things like strict government regulations and intense safety requirements, well, they aren't problems to be solved. They're features. They create a massive wall, a huge barrier to entry for any competitor who doesn't have that deep domain expertise.
And finally, there's the willingness to pay. It's pretty simple, actually. When an AI system is directly responsible for revenue, or for people's safety, or for the core logistics of a business, it stops being a tool. It's not a nice-to-have anymore. It becomes absolutely critical infrastructure, and for that, customers will pay a serious premium. So we've seen the map, and we get the strategy. Now for the last part. What does all this mean for you? Whether you're building a company or investing in one, how do you find your spot on this new AI map? For the founders listening, the message is crystal clear. Stop trying to compete on building a better model. Compete on the domain. Your real edge is in the specific workflow and that proprietary data loop you create. And for investors, the data is screaming that the next $10 to $30 billion companies are going to come out of these high-stakes vertical markets. And that leaves us with one last really big idea to think about. Are we just looking at another hot new software category, or is vertical AI the actual fundamental shape of the entire enterprise software world for the next decade? All the signs suggest it's the latter.